Hi folks, so this is just a very brief explanation of why I work the way I do with my mix bus. Very quick explanation, won't take long at all my tracks would be down this end, my parallels are here, and then I've got my mix bus, which is down here, this track here, which is fed from this mix bus. And so these buses feed into that mix bus, and they're bass and drums, guitars, keys, orchestra, usually strings, vocals, and effects. That feeds into this mix bus, and then the output of this mix bus goes to a print bus. So this print bus is where it's what I'm monitoring from. You hear this little, see this little eye there? It means anything that's coming off the mix bus, that's what's going to the monitors. And I don't have a limiter on there. What I do have is this send. So this pre-fader send unity gain. So it means that it will go to this limiter bus, and then the output of that goes into this track, which is a print LJR1. The other one is just print JR1. But print JR mix 1. So the next one is print L JR mix 1. So these are essentially the two buses that I would use. One most of the time without a limiter on it, and then this one with a limiter on it. Let's get rid of that, make that inactive. So why would I do that? Well, no one I know uses bounce to disk. Like, professionals tend not to use bounce to disk unless they're, doing something small or in a hurry or whatever. It's not because we don't trust it. It's just not very flexible, not a very flexible way of working. So printing your mix while you're listening to it is really the way to do it. So you would have your mix all set up here, all your automation done, everything's cool. You've got maybe some hardware inserts, whatever. That all goes on the mix bus. My mix bus is usually, this Red 17 plugin, G-Bus compressor, and ATR 102, sometimes Sonox inflator, sometimes Schwab gold clip. These hardly ever get used. There's nothing on my print track, not even metering. The metering I put on the master fader here, New Gen VisualM or SSL meter, or there's a couple of others. The idea here is I would go into record and then probably go into normal, hit record, and then press play. And then I'm playing my whole mix. I'm listening to it while I'm printing. And if I need to do a loud version, I would just take, put this one into record as well, and I would record a printed normal level, with some headroom onto this track here, and then another one that goes through the limiter here onto this track. And that way you get both versions at once. You don't necessarily have to, say for example, you just want to do a drop in, you make a change here and you've already printed your mix. You can just drop in into a section of your printed mix as well, because everything's sample accurate, it works perfectly fine. But this is a preferable way of working rather than trying to use a bounce to disk. So pretty much everyone I know who works in the industry sort of at a certain level, this is the way they're going to print their mixes. It's just the way it's done. So yeah, hopefully that helps. But yeah, no, I never use a limiter on my mix bus, and I never use it on this print bus. The only time there'll ever be a limiter in my signal path is if I need a version maybe to give to the band because they want to hear a version of the song. They're not so concerned with loads of headroom. That what they want is to be able to compare it to something on Spotify or their reference tracks or whatever. They want to turn it on. They want it to be loud, and that's what you would use this limited version. So from the mix bus into this limiter and then onto this track. But for me, I work off this track. My mix bus, my group outputs here, go into the mix bus here, and the output of that goes into there. And I'll generally work to -6, so I have 6 dB of headroom. Maybe if I overcook it slightly, it might be as loud as -3. It won't be any louder than -3 ever. Because we've got huge amounts of headroom in these digital mixers now. Pro Tools is, we don't need to push it to the limit. And giving the mastering engineer between 3 and 6 dB of headroom allows them to do a much better job. So that's what I do. Anyway, hope this is helpful.